Good morning. My name is Dan Brown, the Director of the School of Environmental and Forest Sciences in the College of the Environment. It is an honor and a privilege to welcome you all to our second and hopefully the last virtual graduation celebration of the School of Environmental and Forest Sciences. I want to begin by acknowledging that our school sits on the land of the Coast Salish peoples, land that touches the shared waters of all tribes and bands within the Suquamish, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot nations. On behalf of all the CEF's faculty and staff, I'm extremely pleased to congratulate you, the class of 2021, and recognize your family and friends who are participating to honor your academic accomplishments. While I wish we could be doing so in person, we feel it is especially important this year that we recognize the hard work of our graduates over the last few years, and particularly as the challenges of the last year have added weight and stress, as we've all sought to carry on our important work. As I reflect on the past year, it occurs to me that the coronavirus pandemic provides a number of lessons for us that are relevant for our graduates. The first is that we are all relearning the importance of science-based decision-making when faced with social and natural processes and interactions. We can't wish away those processes and how they operate to produce good and bad outcomes any more than we can wish the virus away. We need to understand them and manage our own affairs given the best understanding we have available. That's why the scientific knowledge and resource management and engineering skills our graduates have gained in their programs is so important. Second, good social and environmental outcomes like lack of disease or clean water or sustainably produced food and forest products requires that we work together across the many divisions that might seem to separate us: rural and urban, rich and poor, white and people of color, colonial and indigenous, etc. The societal and environmental challenges we face require solutions that recognize our common purpose, knit together by a shared habitation of Earth, and draw on the wisdom we all bring to these challenges. Finally, we have learned that, like many environmental assaults on human health, the coronavirus has disproportionately affected communities of color, tribes, and those who lack the luxury of working from home or ready access to health care, including vaccines. This is a good time to remind ourselves of these disparate impacts and of our responsibilities as an intellectual community whose mission is to address complex social, environmental, and natural resource challenges that support and protection for all members of our community and those in which we work is key to our collective success. We have a way to go on all of these counts: on getting the pandemic under control, in addressing racial inequities, and for environmental sustainability. As we celebrate and honor the hard work of our graduating students, we have an opportunity for renewed hope for the future. Their knowledge, skills, and passion are needed now more than ever. As we contemplate such complex challenges as climate change, biodiversity loss, and increasing resource demands, it is these graduates who are best equipped to bring science and engineering-based decision-making to these challenges. Some of you are finishing graduate degrees, having completed independent projects and research. You studied how exposure to natural spaces affects human well-being, the physiology and life history of plants that use both photosynthesis and parasitism as metabolic strategies, the factors that affect successful post-fire regeneration in conifers, and the differential impacts of visitor fees on visitor behaviors and preferences in U.S. forests. By developing rigorously controlled studies, experiments, interviews, fieldwork, and literature reviews, you've made a dent in our ignorance. More importantly, perhaps, you've trained yourself to question what you think you know. Our experience with the pandemic over the past year has also highlighted the importance of skepticism about information and the skills to test claims to truth. You have gained these skills. Now, graduates, in the back of your minds at least, you recognize that as much work and Zoom meetings and coffee and late nights as you put in, This was an accomplishment that owes no small debt to the people supporting you. Where did that sense of curiosity about the world come from? Who was there when you needed an ear to talk about the overwhelmingly impossible workload, or the challenges and isolation of remote work, or that demanding professor? Graduates, take a moment to acknowledge and thank the family and friends who have supported you. As the parent of a graduate student myself, I feel for the parents listening today. We parents want our graduates to learn from, but not be bound by our own worldview. Similarly, we faculty want to train our students in the skills and knowledge we've acquired, but to be open to new ideas and collaborations. Those of us who are over 50 something, we want the next generation, let's face it, to build on and expand from what we have to offer to solve the problems we haven't yet managed to solve. Sometimes it's hard to know when to help and when to get out of the way. Given what I've seen of this group of graduates, I'm inclined to follow their lead. The CEF's class of 2021 is indeed an impressive group. Graduating sometime between last autumn and this summer, 128 students were graduating from the school with a major in Environmental Science and Terrestrial Resource Management, or ESRM, and 17 with a major in Bioresource Science and Engineering, or BSE. Several undergraduates have double majors combining ESRM and BSE degrees. 44 also completed UW minors for a minimum of an additional 25 credits, including minors in everything from aquatic and fisheries science to ecological restoration and entrepreneurship. Graduating with degrees this year are 17 students earning the Masters of Science degree, 4 with Masters of Forest Resources, 1 with Masters of Environmental Horticulture. And 16 students are earning the highest academic distinction in the form of the Doctor of Philosophy. For the class of 2021, 10% of the university's undergraduate class will receive honors. In our graduating class, 22 will graduate cum laude, which means a minimum GPA of 3.73. 10 will receive magna cum laude honors with a minimum of 3.83, and 4 will receive summa cum laude honors with a 3.95 or higher GPA. We have a school honors program in which students take a more rigorous selection of courses while maintaining at least a 3.5 major GPA. 17 of our graduates this year achieved this distinction. In addition, 2 students also received college honors, which is a 4-year UW honors program. We all recognize and congratulate you on your impressive accomplishments. Now, I'm thrilled to introduce you to the first dean of the largest college of the environment in the world, Lisa Gromlich, who also happens to be an alumna of our school, for a few remarks.
Hello, class of 2021. It is my distinct honor to be one of the first to congratulate you on your graduation from the University of Washington. This is indeed an accomplishment for which you should all be proud. And thank you for allowing me to be part of this special occasion. It's hard not to be able to shake your hand and congratulate you in person. And certainly walking across your living room is a little different from crossing the stage at Husky Stadium. We come together in recognition of your accomplishments, big and small, from completing your very first midterm in your introductory 100 level class to finishing the last sentence of your thesis. The lessons that test us the most as students are often not taught in the classroom, the lab, or even in the field, nor are they measured in exams, assessments, or papers. They are instead learned in the unpredictable, the unforeseen challenges, and how we rise to meet them. Any typical year of learning is peppered with obstacles, and you all have demonstrated tremendous grit and determination, especially since the shift to virtual learning. The academic journey is not just about grades. It's about learning how to juggle, to prioritize, and to persevere. And to be here today You have proven that you have those skills, and that adaptability will serve you well. You take with you not just a degree, but a wellspring of life experience to draw upon as you move on in your life. Here at the University of Washington, you learn to question and to think more critically. You learn the essential value of teamwork and how to build something together with your classmates, whether their interests aligned with yours or were entirely different. You immersed yourself in your chosen discipline, and at the end of the day, you became a leader. And I can tell you that as dean, it's been enlightening and inspiring to watch you grow. Thank you for giving me this front row seat. As our next leaders, you will make this world a more livable, sustainable place for all of us. And I couldn't be more proud and hopeful about the future, knowing that you will be the people leading the charge. So what's next? For some of you, it may be an internship or your first job. For others, the academic journey continues with grad school or professional training. For many, the job hunt is on, and it can be scary out there. But one thing I know for sure, you are now all equipped with the knowledge, the skills, and the outlook that employers all over the world need right now. But beyond the skills and the knowledge, now more than ever, our world needs kind, smart graduates. We need you to be voices for equity and balance, and crucially for our planet. So, in appreciation of your efforts and talents this year, the College of the Environment is partnering with the Campus Sustainability Fund to help fund the native gardens at the UW Farm Project to design and plant a garden of indigenous plants with significance in native food traditions. This project is in partnership with Wakshabalt Intellectual House. The project is a step towards food sovereignty on campus and will allow students, staff, and faculty in the community to learn about, grow, and consume traditional foods. The project was chosen based on a recommendation from our Student Advisory Council and then voted on by you, our graduating class. And we believe this is a contribution that showcases our collective commitment to the sustainability and the well-being of our campus, our community, and our planet. Wherever you go next, I want you to embrace that the world needs you, that the unique set of skills will help you stand out in a crowd. Stay curious, be adventuresome, stretch your limits, be kind to yourself. You have what it takes. And know that I will still be in the front row cheering you on, always. Please stay in touch. I would love to hear about each and every one of your adventures, and congratulations.
I'm pleased now to introduce our keynote speaker, Washington Commissioner of Public Lands, Hilary Franz. Elected in 2016, Franz protects and manages nearly 6 million acres of public lands in Washington state, from coastal waters and aquatic reserves to working forests and farms to commercial developments and recreation areas. She is committed to ensuring our public lands are healthy and productive, both today and for future generations. Commissioner Franz is leading the push to make Washington's lands resilient in the face of climate change, investing in carbon sequestration and clean energy with wind, solar, and geothermal infrastructure. As the leader of our state's largest wildfire fighting force, she has pushed for new strategies, innovations, and resources to protect our communities. In order to restore wildfire resilience in forests, Commissioner Franz developed a 20-year forest health strategic plan. This plan will make more than 1 million acres of forest healthier and more resistant to wildfires, a scale and pace that is unprecedented. And she has prioritized investments in our rural communities, allocating millions of dollars to spark economic opportunities in struggling communities. She knows that our working lands and the communities that depend on them for family wage jobs are integral to our success as a state, and she is investing in their success.
Thank you for inviting me to be with you on this special day. Deepest congratulations to all the graduates on your achievements. Today, you can look back with pride because you've worked hard to reach this day, and you can look forward with hopeful anticipation toward a fulfilling life. Congratulations as well to all the family and friends who supported you along the way. I wish we could be in person celebrating today. Now, Steve Jobs invented the computer the year I was entering high school. I know. And if you told me some 36 years later that we would all be confined to living inside 11 by 7-inch screen for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 15 months straight, I would have said, please give me another reality. But here we are, coming to you in a little 11 by 7 screen. And you, of all generations, have adapted and been resilient to this unprecedented change. More than any generation before, we will need the resilience and adaptability you've shown. As you know, if you've been paying attention in class, great challenges face us ahead. Our environment has become very unpredictable. Wildfires, forests dying, drought in large part of our state, areas where when I was your age, none of us would have fathomed would be dry. More than any generation, we will need your creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, persistence, and determination. But all those things will not make a difference in your quest to change the world if you do not completely value yourself and embrace a fearlessness in everything you do. My own graduation from college was almost 30 years ago. I remember the day well. I was eager to start my life, go to law school, get into politics, tackle the biggest threat to our environment, and change the world. The Exxon Valdez spill had forever imprinted an image I could not forget. There were no cell phones, Facebook, texting, Instagram, TikTok, yet images spread around the world of 11 million gallons of crude oil pouring into Alaska's pristine Prince William Sound. It was the worst oil spill in U.S. history until the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010. The Exxon Valdez oil spill covered 1,300 miles of coastline and killed hundreds of thousands of seabirds, otters, seals, and whales. And over 30 years later, pockets of crude oil still remain in some of the locations. I felt a sense of urgency to get to work, to change how we respect, care for, and tend to nature. But somewhere along the way, that urgency, that change the world drive, succumbed to fear. Fear of failure, fear of falling down, fear of falling short, fear of not being good enough. Fear, fear, fear. In 2016, almost 25 years after I graduated from college, when I had a chance to step forward and achieve my dream of entering politics, I froze. I was asked to run for Commissioner of Public Lands, to be the second woman to ever serve in this position, managing a quarter of the state's natural resources and leading the largest wildfire team in some of the most pressing, challenging wildfire seasons. And I froze. I spent 3 weeks from 7 a.m. to midnight each day on the phone. I started each day talking myself into running, and by the end of the day, I had talked myself out of it, only to wake up the next day and start the same conversation again. I remember I was in Boston touring colleges with my eldest son, Nate. Every college tour we were on, I was on the phone the entire tour, listening to people talk me into running or listening to people talk me out of running. You're not good enough. You don't have the experience. There's no way you can win. Nate looked at me towards the end of the trip with anxiety on his face about where he's going to go to college. And he said, "Mom, this is the hardest decision I will ever make." I remember looking at him and saying, with anxiety on my face, "Son, you have no idea." Well, finally, fraught with 3 weeks of anxiety, I sat down and I scribbled on a napkin the cons of why I shouldn't run and the pros of why I should. The cons: you could lose, you could embarrass yourself, you could fail. The pros: I could make progress on the critical issues of climate change, tackle wildfire and dying forests, address the threat of conversion of our working forest and farmlands and protection of our waters, and help our struggling rural communities. I called my mentor and he said, "This is the easiest decision you've ever made, Hillary." The cons: those are all about you, your fears, your ego. This is not about you. This is about changing the world. Every day we make decisions, and each decision, whether big or small, forces us to bet either on ourselves or bet against ourselves. When you bet against yourself, you will always lose. When you bet against yourself, we will always lose. No matter amount of betting against yourself is going to bring your dreams to life. No amount of downsizing your vision, your ability, your passion, and playing small is ever going to lead to happiness, to fulfillment, to change. On the other hand, when you truly value yourself, You give yourself the chance to win big and do big things. More than any moment in time, we need all of you betting on yourselves, valuing yourselves, taking big risks, and changing the world. In addition to valuing you, you need to value others. When I look back on my life to where I learned the most critical lessons I needed to be the leader I am today, to face the challenges our environment faces, you won't find it on my resume. I learned more from my odd jobs and bumps and turns in the road that I call life. Working at a mental health center where I helped patients suffering from mental health disorders ranging from depression to schizophrenia, representing victims of horrendous crimes and then turning and representing criminals who are looking for a second chance, or caring for my father for 8 years after he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at the age of 65. Through each of these experiences, I learned the value of others to teach me, no matter their mental, emotional, or physical state. I learned the importance of putting aside judgment and righteousness and leading with patience, tolerance, understanding, and empathy. You may think after all the books you've read on rocks, water, plants, dirt, fish, wildlife, trees, that you're now ready to heal the earth. All that is important to be sure. The lessons I have learned, however, from doing jobs completely unrelated to the environment have taught me the most important lessons as I try to do my part to save the planet. What our world now needs more than ever is each of us choosing to use our status and influence to raise our voice on behalf of those who have no voice, whether they are people, plants, or wildlife. Each of us choosing to walk a day in the life of another without judgment, leaning in, listening, and truly trying to understand. Each of us choosing to find common ground rather than just standing our ground. So as you walk out into the world and live and lead your life, value especially the people who don't think like you, live like you, vote like you, and maybe don't even like you. As I wrap up, let me leave you with my final thought. As you look to live an extraordinary life, changing the world, don't forget to value the ordinary as much as the extraordinary. Too often we take the ordinary for granted as always being there until one day it isn't, like our summers and clear blue skies, until one day it wasn't. Like in 2018 and 2020, when we had the worst air quality in the world. Or like the place I grew up, walking in the woods as a small child, Multnomah Falls. I played in its waterfalls, watched sunlight shine through its dense, majestic evergreens. My father took me here on most weekends to get a break from the noise of the city and the stress of our lives. We could forget everything in this magical place, and I would just stand in awe. 3 years ago, I drove with my 3 boys. Between a conference and busy schedule, I realized that I had not taken them to my childhood playground. As I drove right past it, I said, "That's okay. It'll be there. We can do it another day." 3 months later, 50,000 acres burned in the blink of an eye. I thought this special childhood place, this place of unparalleled natural beauty, would always be there, until it wasn't. My love for nature started as a small child in the Multnomah Falls forest, but my appreciation for nature came when these forests burned down. If you think about it, we don't truly appreciate something, truly fight for something, truly stand up for something until we are at risk of losing it, or until it's already too late and we've lost it. Ralph Waldo Emerson once asked, "What would you do if the stars came out every 1,000 years?" Think about it. Every 1,000 years, the stars would come out. No one would sleep that night. New religions would be created overnight. We would be ecstatic, delirious, made rapturous by nature. We'd stand in awe. But instead, the stars come out every single night. And we watch TV, and we take it for granted. Now we know what real rapture with nature could look like when the moon completely covered the sun in 2017 in the total eclipse. It stretched from Oregon to South Carolina, passed through Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, Tennessee, Georgia. It traveled to the desert and frozen wastelands, bringing a nation of people out and together to witness a rare moment, to stand in awe of nature. Now, as you walk out into the world, ready to change it, don't take you for granted. Don't take others for granted. And don't take the stars in the sky for granted. Every night, look up to the star-filled skies and stand in awe that they came out and gave you something to shoot for.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our student speakers who are elected by their peers to represent the graduating class. Jolene Weatherholt was selected to represent those graduating with graduate degrees. She's receiving her Master of Science degree from CEFS. Her thesis is titled Investigating the Connections Between Soil, Water, and Fire: The Characteristics of Soil Water Repellency Following Fire in the Pacific Northwest. She also received her undergraduate degree in ESRM from CEFS in 2019. Please join me in welcoming Jolene Weatherholt, who will be followed by a presentation of graduate degree recipients read by Professor Monica Moskal.
Hello students, family and friends, faculty and staff, from wherever you find yourself in the world for this celebration centered here in Seattle. My name is Jolene Weatherholt, and I have been so lucky to be a member of the School of Environmental and Forest Sciences community for the past 6 years. For some of us, this school has been our first look into what drives us. For others, our time here has propelled us through to put this drive into gear with the accomplishment of a master's or PhD. In whatever phase of life you find yourself in today, congratulations. As I was wrapping up my bachelor's 2 years ago, I remember that finally being able to stop and ruminate on my academic and personal growth from the sheer density of experience was almost overwhelming. Combing through the memories and the opportunities sought out, big and small, reminded me of the funny paths we seem to go down before finding what next direction is most true to who we are and are searching to accomplish. My master's research investigates the interaction between soil and wildfire in the Pacific Northwest, but my first job while studying at UW was in the basement of a fisheries science building processing fish specimen for the Burke Museum. My next move was to add a position in a plant microbiology lab and other ventures to get experience above sea level, but I was still searching for that path that would stick. It was luck and a flyer on a corkboard in Winkenwerder that connected me to my first field season studying post-fire landscapes in eastern Washington. That summer of field work brought two major realizations. The first, work built on passion and genuine curiosity can bring together a community of colleagues who foster real connection and positivity. I've laughed and smiled my way through the most grueling days in the field. The second, I needed to do this again. Isn't this why we're all here, to explore the natural world? After that summer, school life had gone back to normal, but now I had a new perspective on the courses I was taking and their implications in a forested ecosystem. The next step toward the path to my master's began as an email from a friend in the department suggesting that I participate in a class framed around a volunteer opportunity to teach environmental science to students at Washington State tribal schools through the Alternative Spring Break program. Winter quarter of my junior year was spent creating a lesson plan on a topic of my team's choosing, mulling over what to talk about with the students. I remember the one class that hooked me most and stuck in my head was Dr. Sally Brown's Introduction to Soils course. I pitched the idea of a soils curriculum to my peers, making sure to stress that soils are the foundation of the ecosystem every chance I could. Luckily, they indulged me. I dug through my old notebook from the class and quickly realized I would need Dr. Brown's opinion on the topics I had pieced together for the curriculum. My inquiry for some help was passed along to the new soils professor, Dr. Brittany Johnson, who had taken over the Intro to Soils class. We met in her office for our scheduled meeting, and 3+ hours later, we had completely derailed into discussions of soils research, her previous work, and even my own interests in soil and wildfire. A year later, I would become a graduate student in her lab studying soils and wildfire. My mom has told me since I was little that if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. To all my peers listening today, whatever opportunities you seek, whatever drives your passion, you have put in the time and effort to reach this incredible milestone. If it's meant to be, it will be. When my master's work first started, I found myself building connections with other grad students, mainly in classrooms, at socials after guest lectures, and around the CEFS buildings. During the academic year, our lives are spent in our offices, jumping from room to room for whatever meeting place was next on the list. The hustle of our lives as grad students, juggling it all, was a reflection of the bustle around us and the fast-paced culture that has defined UW life since my first day on campus, spending morning and night working in our offices. When the doors to our buildings closed in 2019, I was reeling that my hub of interaction, even if just a smile and a wave in the hallways, was gone. But we all did not strive to further our careers as ecologists and natural scientists to develop within office walls. The transition to social distancing did not entirely cut off the grad student community from one another. Instead, we met in the outdoor spaces that inspired us all to be here in the first place. We met in backyard bonfires. We met on the shores of Puget Sound and the lakes of Greater Seattle. We met for bike rides on the Burke-Gilman Trail and at the climbing gym and outdoor climbing walls. We have still juggled our classes, research, teaching, and personal obligations. The main difference now is that our daily solace comes from our time spent outside. It's like being a kid again, playing outside every chance you had, because what else were you going to do? Our connections to the natural world back then are the foundations we have stood on in our pursuit to study the natural world today. To my fellow grad students graduating with me today, remember the experiences and values that have brought you to continue your work in academia through CEFS. As the world faces into our new normal, take the experiences of relying on outdoor spaces and the nature around us as a new foundation for whatever chapter in your life comes next. And make sure to always incorporate the activities and environments that have inspired you. Maintain the integrity of an offline life. Today is the culmination of years of dedication by students, investment by faculty, and love from family and friends. So many people have touched my life over the last 6 years here at UW, and to all of you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. To the bachelor's graduates, face this transition with the vigor you have built over the years of navigating the largest and one of the most highly regarded research institutions in the world. If you are still searching for your next step, take a breath. With hard work, your shot will come. I, as I'm sure you, have learned at UW that to capitalize on opportunities that make you think, this is why I'm here, you had to go out and grab them. Apply this to every opportunity you seek moving forward. If I have had the privilege of being your TA, thank you for reminding me to keep learning. It has been the conversations with you all in and outside of class that has given me so much faith for the future. To my fellow grad students, thank you for these years of collaboration and discussion that have elevated the graduate experience for all of us. In between classes and outside of school, the diversity of experience and culture that you all have shared with me has given new perspective in this time of pain and unrest for the BIPOC community. Thank you for your openness in connecting with me in genuine conversation. For my family, you're the keystone that has kept this whole thing together. To my mom, Kelly, my dad, Carrie, and my brother, Austin, I love you more than anything, and thank you for standing by my side these past 6 years. Congratulations again, class of 2021, and thank you.
It's my honor to read the names of Master of Science degree graduate. Nastasia Barber, Elena Becerril Salas, Micah B.U. Haley, Dana Chapman, Jonathan T.H. Chen, Dylan Damon Edmondson, Naomi Fain, Drew Foster, Bridget Alexandra House, Abigail Cargill, Manuel P. Marcardia III, Jenna Morris, Nameta Prasad, Alexa Shriver, Mika Eli Stanovsky, Elizabeth Stone, Jolene Witherholt. Our Masters of Environmental Horticulture graduate, John Saulander. Master of Forest Resources degree graduate, Scott Elliott, Spencer C. Swanson, Kayla Yvonne Swearning, Catherine Woosley. Doctor of Philosophy degree graduates, Bowinabadi Begaram, Maria Blancas, Eric L. Budsberg, Victoria R. Bushman, Sheila Goodman, Jesna Hodzik, Angela M. Klock, Catherine Kuhn, Zhenzhen Lang, Karina Mafuni, Sarah Park Perrins, Gabriel Cefatelli, Carolyn Rachel Shores, Robert J. Turney, Lila Weststrike, Heather Wise.
Isaac Mazingia is our elected undergraduate speaker this year. Isaac is graduating with a Bachelor of Science degree in ESRM with college honors, departmental honors, and interdisciplinary honors, and a minor in political science. His honors capstone project is titled Time, Trauma, and Lack of Information, Exploring Barriers to Accessing Public Lands in the East African Immigrant Community. His remarks will be followed by a presentation of the undergraduate degree recipients read by Associate Professors Sergei Rabatnikov, Kent Weiler, and Heidi Goff.
Hi Dan, thank you for the wonderful introduction. I hope you all are doing well this afternoon. I'll try and keep my remarks brief since I know after a year and a half on Zoom, to be fully honest, the last thing any of us really wants to do is to listen to another person talking on a screen. Feel free to use this as your designated bathroom break before the rest of the ceremony, or if you're in the mood to listen to some of my final reflections, I hope that you find something interesting. Before I begin, I would like to give a thanks to you all, my peers in the class of 2021. Through insightful questions and collaborations inside and outside of the classroom, you have helped me to grow as a student, leader, and friend. While I may be the nominated speaker for today's ceremony, I know I wouldn't be the person I am today without the support of so many in the department and my loving family. Thank you. So I encourage you all to give a word of appreciation to those in your life who helped you get here. Now give yourselves a big round of applause, like a I just finished a marathon sort of applause, because in many ways you have. Don't worry, I'll wait. For some of us, this is the end of a marathon of schooling that we started oh so many years ago. For others, just one step closer to a graduate or professional degree. For all of us, though, it is the final moments of a period of time in our lives that we will always remember. And oh, what a time it has been. When thinking about a word to describe the CEF's class of 2021, I shuffled through a wide variety of options. Tree huggers, Zoomers, tired, but landed on resilient. We've been through a lot, and I don't just mean the last year and a half. Over the last 4+ years, we've dealt with a graduate union strike, Snowmageddon, a global pandemic, a racial reckoning, one, if not two, of the most contentious elections in US history. Not to mention whatever was going on with the climate controls in Blodell Hall. We were either freezing or boiling, and don't even get me started about Red Square in the rain. As a class, we've handled it all, not always with grace or the best of grades, but with perseverance, determination, and resilience. No matter what the universe or university threw at us, including a once-in-a-century pandemic, we pushed through. We kept growing and learning and becoming the sort of scientists and engineers the world needs. We have a lot of daunting challenges ahead of us. Many of us will be put in front of challenges we could never be fully prepared for. But in those times, when you're tasked with making a cleaner biofuel or more sustainable paper product, managing wildfires or saving a species from the brink of extinction, remember, you are resilient. Over the last 4+ years, you've overcome a wide variety of roadblocks. From group projects to passive-aggressive geese to so many non-ideas of online learning you can't even count them. So once again, no matter how large the problem, that resilience you have developed will take you far. And when you get to that faraway place, remember that with great power comes great responsibility. And I urge you to remember your responsibility, not just to the earth, but to the people who inhabit it. People of every race, gender, religion, ability, and intersectional combination. For too long, as scientists in a quest for some objective truth, we have stood on the sidelines of social justice, not acknowledging that no action was in fact an action which has too long silenced the voices of the underrepresented and marginalized. For much of my time while in CEFS, I was a member of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, helping to create change one small action at a time. While I've been encouraged by especially the work we have managed to achieve this past year, let us not get complacent. Let us not see justice as the work of a few, but the work of all. We all have a choice to change the narrative of STEM. Whether we become a pulp and paper engineer or entomologist, we all must play a role in achieving social justice. For us to achieve the sort of wide-scale social transformation that is required to address the looming climate crisis, we need everyone. And that means a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion like we have never before seen. If you all only take one thing away from this commencement speech, let it be this. Every day we will be faced with choices. Choices to either passively accept the status quo or to take an anti-racist stance in pursuit of justice. When you make that choice, think about the world you want your descendants to live in. What legacy do you want our generation to leave behind? How do you want to be remembered? On that note, I'll begin wrapping it up, since I know I said I would try and keep it short, but I feel like it wouldn't be a commencement speech without some sort of philosophical quote. So I'll leave you your screen on this note. A quote that struck with me from the email byline of the best advisor on campus, Lisa Nordland. There's an ancient Chinese proverb: the best time to plant a tree was 40 years ago. The second best time is now. So now that you're all free from the constraints of that undergrad grind, go out and find your tree, your dream, your passion, your vision for how to make the world a better place, and pursue it with that same resilience you've shown the last 4+ years. Don't let the fear of failure prevent you from pursuing your fullest potential, because remember, we are resilient, and even in failure, we can learn a lot. I hope you have a wonderful celebration of this milestone of life, and as admin like to say, go out and be boundless.
Madison Adams, Anushka Adav, Sophia Allen, Christian Amador, Jose Amiskua, Maxwell Anderson, Joseph Barkley, Rachel Basangan, Jordan Bender, Allison Bergomi, Kalina Bevelheimer, Rachel Bina, Nina Birkenfeld, Noah Bloxton, Allison Budell, Allie Bradley, Colby Browning, Alicia Bruner, Christina Cameron, Megan Charbonneau, Zachary Childs, Selena Chu, Wallace Cole, Georgia Coleman, Jonathan Kuhn, Haley Darby, Tegan Darmody, Allison DeCurligand, Kyle Devanadera, Jessica Doherty, Lauren Dorsch, Gabrielle Easthouse, Jane Fitzgerald, Victoria Fleck, Lauren Foster Shaner, Jennifer Gabriel, Emma Gardner, Anna Gibson, Jorge Godoy, Andrew Gruder, Junning Guo, Kevin Hakala, Faustino Hampson Medina, Rev Hansen, Lauren Hart, Yoshimi Hada, Molly Henling, Grace Henry, Sierra Hertzberger, Cameron Ho, Kevin Wang, Isabel Hokerl, Nikki Hogan, Griffin Holmes, Allison Horn, Theodore Haas, Andrew Hout, Christopher Singh, Muan Wang, Chenwen Jia, Claire Johnson, Alexandra Kelm,
Peyton Killman, Bora Kim, Cameron Kinsey, Jacob Kaiser, Wyatt Klepak, Gabrielle Crone, Alexandra Marie Kruper, Ryan Law, Kaya Levy, Abigail Lovell, Yuliang Liu, Tui Liu, Alexander McKinnon, Hunter Mason Gray, Isak Majangia, Grace McGrady, Charles Miller, Jacob Mobley, Alejandro Montanez, Arata Murakami, Deirdre Nellis, Madison Newton, Hannah Nicholson, Layla Ordukani, Kylie Otani, Aimee Jean Pahimula, Allison Phillips, Dylan Rank, Sierra Redbow, Brenton Riddle, Decca Roble, Paul Romano, Erpi Ruiz Angeles, Alyssa Reiser, Natalie Shudakoff, Titakorn Sekaresia, Zachary Shanshori, Peter Siberel, Kyoko Alexandra Soneta, Madison Stone, Brooke Streller, Ayla Sutherland, Wyatt Swift, Ryan Tyra, Chantel Tang, Marcella Todd Zaragoza, Rebecca Tom, Sarah Tran, Madeline Tutton, Lena Kathleen Van Ice, Vincenzo Verba Maurer, Rachel Volk, Diane Shi Wong, Annabelle Wyrick, Courtney Whiteside, Hunter Witten, Alyssa Wolf, Ronnie Woodard, Yanchen Wu, Jane Wynn, Selena Shi, Lin Chao Ye,
Jack Cook, Daniel Daly, Michael Fatrigianto, Wyan Fu, Hainan Jiang, Catherine Kaplan, Jackie Coble, Jinhon Kum, Theodore Lance, Mark Liu, Trey Meyer, Nathaniel Muller, Spencer Noakes, Sungyu Park, Kevin Parker, Nicolesh Patel, Hannah Schmidt, Nahom Tikabu, Grant Walton.
In closing, I say to our new CEFS graduates, as you move on to your next adventure, never lose sight of the passion that drives you to learn and to take on the difficult environmental challenges we face. Never lose hope. Never forget the people who support and have supported you in your life and work, but also never stop questioning the way things have been and looking for solutions to both new and long-standing problems. And whatever you do, never forget your family back at CEFS. We want what you've learned to be useful to you and at the same time encourage you to build new knowledge and solutions for the future. I'm most pleased and honored to be able to congratulate the graduating class of 2021 and our hope for the future.